I'm pretty good at using my products, but I have to admit there is one that I have bought that I really, apart from testing out with a little scribble, I've never used, and that is these woody pencils. So today we are going to correct that wrong, and we are going to use these to make some art. Hi everyone, Jane here. I thought I'd do another mixed media page type video using one of the colour palettes, and this product which I bought a fair while ago, and I have to admit I bought it because I watched lots and lots of videos of people with these woody pencils. Now I took a long time to decide to buy them. I really did think about it long and hard, because at the end of the day they are really aimed at children, and I did think they were quite expensive for what they are, but I fell for the the constant watching. I reinforced my own purchasing decisions by watching numerous videos where people had these pencils. I didn't go for a massive set, so there you go, but I did go for this set of 10 because it came with the humongous sharpener that comes with these pencils. Now the idea of these is they are by Stabilo and they're 3-in-1. I think the idea is that they're a little bit, I have these Stabilo all pencils. I just tend to buy, these are the Acrea, so they are pencils that go on lots of different surfaces, so like paper, glass, plastic, metal, and they're water soluble and they dry I think permanent. I think they dry permanent. But the reason I have these is because they're really good for like adding shadows and things around some of your on your projects. So if I do collage, I will quite often use these to sort of add some shadows. And I've got a few. I've got another one here that's really small. Where's my small one? Just to prove I do use it. There we go. So these are the ones, in fact, they're all been used, but this one used the most. So I've got 3 because I never want to run out of them, because I do like it. And I did actually also buy the graphite coloured one, which is exactly the same, only it's like a normal pencil colour. But I don't tend to use that one as much, but the idea was that I could draw and then water out the lines to blend them in with colours, and I do believe they do them in other colours. So I think these are similar. I haven't overly researched them, to be honest, because once I got them, I scribbled out a bit of colour, watered them out, see what they were like, and that was about as far as it went. Although I'm looking at this white, and I don't know whether it was smaller to start with or whether I sharpened it just to see what would happen. I have a suspicion I sharpened it to see what would happen, because I don't, unless I did use the white, I don't know. So they are very, very chunky. So you do need this massive sharpener, and this came with this set. So there you go. So that's those. There are lots of people on YouTube who've done reviews of them, comparing them to other pencils. So I'm not doing that today. I am just wanting to get these out and use them, just to prove to myself I didn't waste that money. So I have got my colour palette book. So if you haven't seen it, here it is. It was one that I bought for myself with my birthday money at the end of 2024. And I wanted some colour palettes to have a sort of push myself a little bit more. I don't struggle with colour, but I do have a tendency to stick to the same sort of, not so much the same colours. I use lots of different colours, but I tend to, when I'm working with certain colours, keep them within groups. So I always will like my greens and blues, and I work with my reds, oranges and yellows all together all the time. Whereas I find the palettes that come in these books and on the cards and things like that give you a wider range of colours that I wouldn't necessarily sort of think to put together. So I've chosen this one today because I just love the range of almost jewel tones, and I sort of picked it as well because I thought it would give me the chance to use these pencils. So we've got, they're not going to be exact matches, but I wanted to use these primarily because they're the product that I want to have a play around with. So we've got a pink, a yellow, a dark blue, We've got the tealy blue or turquoisey blue and an orange. And then this at the end I think is a very, 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 very dark purple. But I'm going to add in the purple and the black, and I will also be using white. So literally the only two colours I'm not going to use are the green and red. So we'll pop them back over there. And I'm going to use, so I'm going to put that to the side because I will add in other products, because I thought this would also be a good opportunity for me to grab the Copic Acreas and have a little test out of these today and see how they work with water soluble products or on top of the pencil, because I might not water them out the whole time. So I've got my, let's have a look, my Winsor and Newton mixed media pad. I still haven't bought a proper fixative for my oil pastels. I did try the Spectrafix again because I thought, oh, I'll give it a couple of coats and see if it works, but unfortunately it hasn't set it, so I do need to get a proper fixative for that, or a proper varnish. But I've got my paper pad there and I need my blue tape. So I forgot to say hello. If you are new here today, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy, and if you do enjoy, do please give me a thumbs up and maybe think about subscribing and hit that notification bell. And if you are returning, thank you very much. I truly do appreciate your watches. I never know what to call it. Your views, that's it, isn't it? Your views. Now I'm using this blue Scotch tape. I'm not doing a very good job of getting that nice and straight. Not that it matters, it's only in my pad, but I do want to vaguely get it straight. Now I'm sort of thinking about what sort of layout I want, because I've done, my first one I did in here was 3 columns, then I did 4 for the oil pastels. I think did I do 6 for my gelatos? I'm going to block off the edges first. Now I am just putting it on my jeans just to take a little bit of tack off. I'm not sticking it fully. So I've got hair constantly molting. Very annoying, I can't get it. There we go. I've forgotten what I was saying. I forgot what I was halfway through a sentence and distracted myself. That is very common. So yeah, I'm not, that's what I said, I think. I've just put it slightly over, and like to sort of wrap it around the edges. That way I don't get it onto other pages at all, because it's in the pad. Obviously, if you wanted to, these do have perforations, so you could take the page out. I'm wanting to sort of keep them all together in the book, because if I take them out, they'll just get lost or ruined. Now, do we want to just do 2 big ones? Do we want to do lots of little? I'm thinking maybe lots of little ones today, because we've got lots of colour. We could do like some different sort of colour combinations, and I'm thinking I might bring in some stamping for a change. So I think one, oh no, I've done 6 before, haven't I? What if I did one of, it's probably very small then. No, I don't want to do, oh, maybe we could do, I know what I'm going to do. Let's do something a bit different. Let's split this one here. Let me get scissors to cut this rather than trying to tear it now I've stuck it on. We'll do that there, and then we'll split this top one into 2 sections, into 3 sections rather. That's not, we're not going to waste that bit of tape because I've cut it now. So let's just do a little bit more. Oops, let's just take the stick off, and then we'll, oh, it's not quite lined up properly. Let's take that back off. We don't want wibbly wobbly lines. Well, not that it matters. There we go. So let's have something a little bit different. We'll have 3 smaller ones at the top and 2 bigger ones at the bottom. And I want to just have a go with these colours and see sort of what we can do with them. Now I'm thinking that, so we've got 2 sort of colour groups straight away there, but am I then just falling into my old traps? But I don't want to mix across too much because I don't want to really muddy my colours up. But well, let's do a mixture. So let's See how these feel. Oh, the thing that because they are nice and chunky, you can lay colour down really quick. Let's do a bit of this purple. Let's do this lovely turquoisey colour. A bit more, maybe a bit more of the purple there. A bit of that there. We can always go over with the other colours as sort of. Right, let's get my paint. Let's get my, you know what, every time I can not find the brushes. There we go. My lovely Princeton square wash. Do like this one. Right, I've only got one pot of water. See how these. So it sort of leaves a bit of sort of texture in the background, but then waters it out. I quite like that because then you still are seeing, it's blending it, but you can still see the marks that you made. I quite like that. We can try some different techniques in different ones, couldn't we, anyway? So let's do this a little bit differently. And if I go over the top, I'm going to guess I can do a bit more blending with the pencils. Let's have a look this time. Just go over like that. And that way. So the amount you put down, obviously you're going to get more blending there. So I'm quite liking how that's coming out. That's quite nice. Right, let's do, what about if we do some, we'll just do one big panel and then we will let that one maybe dry once I've watered that out, and then we'll go over with a contrasting colour. Give that a good wash. So this is just that one colour. So let's see how much we can get this as a nice smooth wash. Although I think, to be honest, if I want a nice smooth wash, really I might as well just use watercolour paint. So to me, I'm getting a bit of that colour coming from over there. I like the point of these pencils would be that I get those pencil marks in there, you know, to create something a little bit different. So let's go with, let's muddle up the yellow with the blues, and then we can get some greens going on in there as well, couldn't we? Bit of that. And a bit of that. Quite like the effect of just leaving them like that, but not for today. We might do that another day. So let's go activate that pigment. Say it's not as reactive as some other products. Definitely leaving a lot of the marks in there, so that's something to be aware of. See what that dries like. This is just a background at the moment. And then what can we go with? What we got left? Let's have some purple and pink, maybe. Let's go. Just make some different patterns on there. And some pink. So you can, I mean, I'm doing them quite wide, but you can do, you rub and, you know, make it a lot tighter. Let's see what that bit looks like. I've got a bit dirty water going on there, but never mind. So if you really sort of layer it down, then you'll get a much more, you know, you'll be able to bring that pigment up, and if you like scrub it in a bit better, you'll get a smoother look. Which I'm preferring where I leave the scribbles, so like I say, if I want a nice smooth look, I can use other products for that. For me, if it doesn't do something a bit different, then there's no point to it. So there we go, we'll do that. So we'll leave those to dry. To be fair, they're drying quite quickly, so I don't think it will take long, and then I will be back. They dried quite quickly actually. I wafted my heat tool very slightly over them, but they actually were drying really quickly. So this one, where I just put the one colour down, you can still see a bit of the texture. I mean, there is texture to the paper, so it is going to create that little bit, but it's smoothed out a lot more because I think I really was working on like it into the paper a bit better. But these, I love how it has left the texture in the background. For me, that is, you know, more interesting. Now I've grabbed out a few stencils. Now this one is a really old memory box one. It has got a number. I think it's called, oh, it's called Texture. No, it's not. It's Texture, but it says it's Mesh, and it's got an item number. So I will put that down in the description box. I won't put a link, but if you want to, then look it up. You'll be able to see if you can find that anywhere. These ones are all ones that I made myself. This one is one I drew and I cut by hand with an engraving type tool into some mylar. And these are ones that I just created using my dies and some mylar sheets, just because I wanted to start having my own sorts of little collections that I would be useful for me. So I'm thinking that with those I add some texture on afterwards, but these I thought I could use to create some shapes, sort of, so that they're not freehand. Now I'm wondering if I want to do a contrasting colour, so I'm going to go with my blue. Now I could, to be honest, have drawn that, you know, quite simply myself. I've now got myself two things of water as well, so that I can have one dirty, one clean. I've switched to this round number 12. This is just a Dylusions graduate one. I'm just going to see how, when we go over the top, now that's dry, what the, let's rinse that off, what the pencil underneath, will it move? And it's not, is it? I don't think it is. So it does stay where it is now. Will this layer, so my circle is becoming a bit bigger, because I wanted to just see, to start with, if I could water that out and whether that would lay it. Yeah, it's quite watery. I think once that dries, that will make me a shape, but it's gone quite translucent over the top of that. It might be the amount of water I've had to sort of put in to lift that up. It sort of is, feels like it's sort of just sitting on the top a bit. Hopefully that will dry. If not, I'll have to just blot it off. I think it will dry. Let's have a look at some other, let's make some more. Maybe on this one, we'll go the same colour as, maybe just leave it. Because you don't have to water them out. You could just use them as pencils, I do believe. Let's see if I can, I don't know if they smudge actually. Let's have a look. Oops. Right, let's see if we can smudge them. No, they're not smudgeable. I am going to just do that because I want, where there is excess, it is coming off, and that's what I just wanted to do. Just wanted to make sure that there's any excess is sort of on there a bit better. I might, once that's dry, I might go back over that. I quite like it just being like that really, rather than, now I could perhaps then, should we go in with some orange and see how that goes over the top in there. I don't want to mix it with my blue, that's the trouble, because if I mix the blue and the orange, I'm going to get brown, but maybe I want a smaller brush. I'm not sure. Let's just want to add a little bit over the top, just to add a contrasting colour. Oh, quite like that. Now this is going down thicker. I think I just watered that out way too much. This is, I've got less water, more pigment from the pencil, and that's making a much stronger sort of colour on there. And I'm just being careful not to touch too much the line, because obviously as soon as I touch that line with the water, it's going to react. So it's just about being aware of what, you know, what you're putting down where. I like that. I like contrast of orange and blue. It's really a good one. So I do think I want to. I know this hasn't dried, but let's go back over and see what happens if we go into it while it's damp. Let's just go around the whole thing like that. Ooh. Not sure, but we'll leave it. We'll leave it like that. Quite liking it. Right, what else do we do? Right, we've got circles. Let's go with something a bit different. Let's go with some squares. So we've got, ooh, should we do some overlapping squares? The only thing I would say with these is they are quite chunky. So they're a little bit, you know, you're not going to get anything too sort of fine. No fine lines when you're doing this. So I'm just looking, I felt like my cat had come into the room, but I don't know if he has. Now let's do this here. And overlap a dark one here. Oops. Bit of interest there. One more. What one haven't I? You haven't used the orange on here, have I? Let's do a little bit of orange up there. Right, I think I'm going to get a thinner. Do I want to get a bit of a thinner brush? We'll need a bit more water than that, obviously. Just want to just take the edges out. I don't want to fill the whole shape in, just a little bit. We'll be getting overlap. We might get a nice bit of green going on there, just to something different. Now I have to say, you probably do exactly the same sorts of things with products you already have. So as I've said before, these videos are not to say to you rush out and buy these oh, I just put that in the wrong one. These pencils. If you have got something that, you know, works in the same way, so something like your Neocolor 2s, probably things like the Tim Holtz Distress pencils, watercolor pencils, the Dina Wakley scribble sticks. They'll all have slightly different properties, but they'll have the same, they'll be able to create the same sort of effects. So, you know, I'm using these because I've got them in my stash and I want to use them, because I don't see the point of them just sitting there and me not using them. Oh, just do a little bit of colour mix in there. So that's sort of, that's the reason why I'm using them. And also because if you have got these in your stash, and I bet you there are people out there, because I would be one of them watching most videos, who have probably got these and forgot, oops, let's carry that into there a bit, and have forgotten that they bought them and that they're just sitting possibly in a cupboard somewhere. I mean, I take everything out of the packages. Do I take everything? I take most things out of their packages, because I find that if I leave them in their tins, if I leave them in the boxes, they're more likely to get put on a shelf. So I will show you what I mostly do is I do things like this. I put them into pots. I have got, oops, I'm going to lean over, sorry, my scribble sticks and my Neo colours in one of these. I put them where I can see them so that I am more likely to use them, and that would be my biggest tip for using what you have, is to have it visible. Obviously that's not always possible, but where if you have, or maybe you can sort of rotate things. So if there's something you know you haven't been using and you want to, just put that thing out. I've just melted that out a bit too much, you know, and then after using that for a bit, swap it out for something else so that you can try out all your different products. Now let me have a look. I want to do, I think, let's just do some, I want to just do some freehand on this one. I'm going to go around those bits that I already coloured before and just do some lines like that. Oh no, there was another bit up there, wasn't there? Just to see, just having a play, and this is going to be a background to other things, so it's not going to matter. There, quite like that. Did I do that bit there? Do that bit there. So got a bit of extra on there. And what do we want on here? We've got purple. We have a little bit of a contrast of something here. What's opposite to purple on the colour wheel? I do actually have a colour wheel. I don't often, to be honest, I don't really use it because I generally know what colours are what. So the opposite to violet is yellow, and I did actually know that, but for some reason my brain just totally wouldn't remember. So let's go over just with the, so this is what it means. So because these are made to go on lots of different sizes, do you know what, that is one of the things that makes me think, I don't know if I'd give these to a child. I don't want a child, and I have got children. They're mostly older children now. Well, two are actually adults. But I don't know if I'd want them going around drawing on everything and it managing to stick. But, you know, that is apparently what they are marketed for. So I don't also know whether I'd pay as much as these cost for a child. But there we go. So let's go with some smaller orange dots on here. And again, because they're not, you know, they're not like your oil pastels or your, what's the other thing, gelatos. They react with water. So that means that they're good for if you want to just lay them down as pencil and not make them spread. But you do then need to be aware that if you're going to put anything watery on top, or if you're going to spill water, that obviously then there is a chance it will move. I don't know how much of a chance it will move unless you move it. So let's just grab a water bottle and just see. No, see, now you can spray it with water and it's not going to move, but if I then go like that, it will move. So it won't move just by having the water on it, but it will move if you then move that colour. So if you accidentally just drop my scissor cover into the box, if you accidentally dripped some water on there, it's not, you know, it's not the end of the world if you just then leave it to dry. Or I'm going to guess if I get a piece of kitchen towel and it would lift some colour. I wonder then, my world is full of wondering, if I sort of, you could do like a distress effect, you know, like you can with inks and stuff. So let's put some water drops down, mostly up there. Let that sit for a moment to activate the colour, the pigment, and then we will get some kitchen towel and see if that will lift colour or whether it's just going to lift the water. Now at the moment I can't tell if that is lifting colour, if that's just lifting water. Oh, it lifted a little bit. The colour is on there. but it hasn't particularly. Now that's interesting, maybe because there's so much colour down there, because some colour came off on here, but it hasn't really, unless as it dries it's going to show. Oh, it might, I'm not sure, let me look. No, I don't think it has. So you don't have to worry too much. That's what I'm sort of trying to get at. It's not, I'm just going to give them a little wipe just to make sure there's no bits, because obviously as you're doing things, bits come off your pencils, and I just don't want it to suddenly, oops, spread everywhere, because a bit of colour was coming up off of there. Right, so that is that. But now let's see about, oh, these are a bit dirty now, aren't they? Doesn't matter, we're not doing those ones at the moment. Let's get something like this. Let's get some paint. Right, I need to go and get some paint. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so I've grabbed some different coloured acrylic paints. I've got some Dylusions paints, and I've matched the colours to the ones that we've used in the background. Now, most of these, I think, oh no, one of them's a shimmer paint. So the purple is a shimmer, the rest are flat colours. And then I've also grabbed a couple of Dina Wakleys, but I don't know how much is in there. And I've also pulled out another couple of stencils that I designed myself, because I thought a little bit might go on places. So I'm thinking I'm going to leave the leaf to be more of a focal point, but I've also grabbed some white acrylic as well. So let's do some background. Let's use this one. Let's grab some brushes. A couple of brushes to start with. I'm going to move my pencil slightly, and let's go with, for this one, I feel like there's not much paint in these but it doesn't feel like there's much. They have been well used, so it may be that there's not much in here. Let me just see if I can get a little bit out. Oh, is this a little bit in here? This one is, and again I will list everything. Peacock, one of my favourite colours of all time. Let's just get a little bit, and let's put it. Now there's no reason why acrylic paint shouldn't go over these pencils, because acrylic paint tends to go over just about everything. I think the only thing it probably doesn't go over is something that would be oil based. So let's just do a couple of little bits there. Do that one on there, and you know, I think a little bit of that would look nice on here. So I'm not putting lots down, I just want a little bit of interest on these ones, I think. And I do love stencils. Stencils are one of my favourite things. There we go. So those on that one. Then I have got this one I did, which I wanted to be all sorts of marks. So that's quite good because it's got the circles. Let's do a bit of, this is a shimmery purple, and this is Dylusions. It is crushed grape. I'm just putting a little bit, and I'm going to use the same brush because it's a, you know, a not complementary, a colour that's near it on the colour wheel, so it's not going to make too much difference. Again, and I like to overlap things. Let's have a little bit of overlapping, and I tend to always work a bit in threes, but I'm going to go down here actually, and then just have it all in this sort of section, so I can put something else up in that top corner there. So that's that one. Do we have, let's have, should we do a little bit, we'll do some circles on this one as well, because we had the circles in the background, so I think that would look cool. There, just a little bit of that in there. So that's that one. Now I am putting, you could put these straight in water, I'm just putting them to the side. I find stencils, they are fine, they clean up, especially if you've got like a little scour and you hold them nice and flat. If you want to clean them at all, some people, I know some people don't clean them, I do clean mine, but you know, it's up to the individual. Now I'm not going to use that, but I'm going to pop that in the water, and because I want to use some orange. Oh, this might not be coming out. If I haven't got the orange, then I might. No, I think that may be the end of that. It doesn't even sound like there's anything in there. I think I've finished that one, so that can go in the bin. I have got Peony Blush, so hopefully there's some in this one. Oh, yeah, I think there's some in this one. We'll use that instead. We could, actually, because this is my year of colours and colour mixing, let's mix some pink and yellow and see what colour we get. I don't like that brush that I had there. I'm going to get a different one. Right, so let's mix these up. We've sort of got a just a different sort of pink. Let's put a little bit more yellow in and see. This one is actually more on a neon. This is Lemon Drop. I think they were brought out as more neonic. There we go. That's a bit more of a sort of more of a salmon. I've just added a bit of purple into that, but never mind. Right, I just want the smaller ones of these sort of. I'm going to dab this one a bit more because it's a finer stencil, as in it will, you know, it's not going to lay flat as much because it's got less support across them. So just be aware of that when you're stenciling. And I think over here then with this one, let's just go like that. Now just make sure you don't have too much paint on your on your stencil, on your brush even. Right, and a bit coming down there. There we go. That one's more like a I think I called it Distressed Cobbles. Let's pop that there. Get that in there. So we've got those now. This thingy paint, acrylic paint. So I'm just reaching for another brush. Acrylic paint does dry very, very quickly, but I could give it a zap. But I think I'm going to leave it because I want to put something over the top in that, and I want to possibly do that in white, so then I can use my acrylic markers. Now my washing machine is going. I hope you can't hear that. I can hear it, but it's on a spin. But I don't know whether you can hear it or not. So if you can't hear it, never mind. But if you can, that's what it is. I never know how much this microphone picks up. Right, let's get this and then we can do some nice. If I do it in white, then I can add bits to it. Do you know what? To now tie this all together, because it's very each one is very different, but I want them to sort of join together. So I'm going to do the same leaf, stem, branch, whatever you call it, sprig in each one, so that there's a common theme amongst them. So let's get that on there. And so we've got going up that way, that way. Let's have this one going down the way. In fact, I'm going to have that maybe coming off a little bit. Don't have to have them all right on there. Have some sort of coming off a little bit. And this time I am really sort of stippling as opposed to swirling it, because there are these little bits that come in that if I start doing that, I'm probably going to allow the paint to go underneath them. So I want it more like that. So we'll have one coming very much off the side here. We'll need a little bit more paint. I'm not doing the paint too thick either, because I don't want to obliterate everything that's underneath. I want to still, you know, get the layers and see the different colours and the different patterns coming through. And so just by doing it stippling as well, you get a thinner layer of paint. So you sort of get two sort of bonuses. You get it hopefully not seeping under where you don't want it, but also letting things shine through a bit. There we go, that's that one. And I think one more where we're just going right up like that. Now, so you can see the pencil is still showing through, the wood is. And that's what I'm actually wanting. So if you wanted to obliterate your background. I don't mean obliterate, but you know, if you didn't want to see, if you were trying to cover something up, then you could, you know, add another layer on over the top so that you get gradually more and more layers. Now gradually more and more things put over here to clean. And let's take this off. Oops, we won't take that bit off. I'm really rubbish at remembering which way. So it was this one, wasn't it? Because that was the last one that I put on. So let's go with that one. And this is my favourite part. Where you just, I am going to add more onto this, but I just wanted to now take this off because it was mostly, oh look, it has crept under there a little bit. It was mostly the pencil that I was keeping sort of, you know, off of those edges. I'll get rid of that for now. And also by doing the main focal points in white, they will then hopefully, where there's that nice crisp edge, that's going to look really nice. Let's do that one. Oh, I'm loving this. I love the colours. I love that they're all different, but then just having that one repeating feature draws everything together. And that's the thing with if you're doing something like this and you want it to be different, but you want it to also be cohesive, just pick one thing that you repeat. And then that, I mean, there is also other repeats actually because there's similar, some of them have got the same stenciling, but you can make things really different, but also draw them back in. Right, I'm going to leave that to dry and I'm going to clean up and then I'll be back. So I'm hoping this is thoroughly dry. I do always recommend if you're now going to be using any sort of acrylic marker or anything over the top of paint, that you do make sure it is thoroughly dried. Now, this hasn't been drying for that long, but I think it will be okay. So these are the Copic Acreas. I have got a video, it's not a review at all. It was just having a first look at them and comparing them to my Poscas and the Artex brush markers that are also acrylic. But I did say that until I use them, I don't know whether I think they are, you know, any more worthwhile purchasing than something like the Poscas. And they afterwards I did look up the cost of these, and I think they'd gone up since they were bought for me for Christmas. And to be honest, they were on Amazon, they were going for $4.99 each, which I think, to be totally honest, that was £2.50. So, you know, it's double the price. So it's, you know, it swings around. It's what you like. So I wouldn't ever tell anybody not to, but I'm just giving you the sort of the facts, so to speak. So I will try them out on my page here. Now I have also got the black and the white woody. I was just interested as to, you know, how it would go over the acrylic paint. And actually, as a white, that's not bad. I'm going to have to finish that off on there now, aren't I? So let me have a little see whether that, it's not smudging, which is good. But obviously if you wanted to make it react with water, you still could. I'm not quite sure how that obviously would work over your acrylic paint, but if you want it to use it as like a final layer on your acrylics, that certainly is another option, rather than your paint pens. It's not lifting anything off. That is still white on there. So that's the white one. But let's just have a look at the black and see what we get with that. That's working nicely over the acrylics as well, which really, I don't know why I'm surprised, because that's the point of these pencils, is that they do work on lots of different surfaces. Do you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to go right round and make like a leaf pattern in that one. I don't know if I like that now, but that's what we've got. So that's what we've done with that one. But you know, I think I preferred it as it was. I wonder if I could now, because I've decided I don't like that. I don't like it. Let's get a brush. Let's see how easy this would be to rectify. So I'll get my kitchen towel and I'll get some water, because in theory that will water that out, but that shouldn't really stick that much on top of acrylic paint, should it? So I can remove that now, and I am going to, because I didn't like it. So that is something, if you're doing it over the top of acrylic paint and then you go, actually I really didn't like that, you can still remove that. I'm getting a very dirty brush there. Really just watering it in and then just lifting it off, and then I can go back to the bare paint again. So never be afraid when you're doing, you know, especially when you're doing abstracts, because you know that's probably now going to go onto that bottom bit. I'm not worried. This is in a sketchbook. It's not, you know, I'm not hanging this on. I'm not trying to sell this. Maybe if I was selling it, I might be a little bit more worried that I'd mucked it up. But you know, you only learn by experimenting quite often. But I like the white on top of the colours. Not keen on the black on there, but I'm now wondering, I'll wait for that to dry. I'm thinking I might go around with my black Copic Acrea. Right, so as if you've watched the previous video with these in, they are like a posket in that they do need shaking up and they may very much need priming. But I think I'm going to just, I want to just do a very loose outline to these, like that. I want to just emphasize, now that's working nicely on that. The ink is, the paint ink, never sure, the paint is flowing nice and freely. They do not feel scratchy. And they're not sort of sputtering or anything like that. I'm just trying to think of which way to do this so I don't lean onto anything. I've got water there. I'm just going to grab my cloth and just lift where I dropped all that water. So let's go on this one. I want to, now like I said with the repeating sort of elements, I want to repeat this same part on each of those so that they all do look cohesive. Leave that one. I'll just turn this one round. That is a thing as well, is to, you know, don't turn yourself inside out trying to do things. You know, sometimes it's a bit tricky when you're filming something, because obviously you want to try and keep things in shot. But if you're on your, you know, working for your, you know, doing it for yourself, turn it round. Don't, you know, don't try and be doing it at all funny angles. Right, now this one, I'm going to now go, that's, even though that had quite a bit of water on, that's fine. Like that. That's it. I like that. That's nice. Now let's try some, should we have some gold? Let's do some gold marks around things. So maybe, let's just make sure that's started. Some gold around the purple. Now I often find the gold pen, even with my Posca, is a little bit more tricky. Now I think that just needed a bit more pumping. That just hadn't quite primed enough. There, let's go around these ones as well. So someone there. Let's do maybe around, again, let's get that pumped and started again. Sometimes when you can't quite, if it's not quite going, give it another shake, give it another pump, just get them going. The gold is probably not going to show up as much. This is the colour I made, wasn't it? It's like, I'm sure it was more of a peachy colour. when I actually made it, it's gone like a brown. It's not really gone with the colour vibe of the palette, but never mind. Right, that one there. Let's do the same. Now I'm just aware, so I am going to turn it around because I am aware that I've just put, you know, the paint pen down there, and I don't want to now stick my fingers right over, my hands right over it. Now, I did say earlier I was going to do some stamping on here, but I actually don't know if I want to now. And this is the thing, when you're creating, you know, you might think, oh, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, and then actually once you put it together, you decide that, no, I'm quite happy with that how it is. Now that's that pen. So we've used the black, we used the gold. Let's have a look at, I want to do something with this circle. I'm thinking I'm going to go with the white. That would be interesting because white is usually the one that we're all really looking for, isn't it? It's the one that is, we all want that good white pen. So let's do some lines and dots. One of my favourite things to do is lines and dots. Liking that. Let's maybe do some little highlights around some of the squares. Obviously the darker the colour you're going onto, the more it's going to show up, but that's fine. Again, it's not sputtering, it's not throwing out paint. Now that was on top of the pencil, that's on top of the paint. Let's do some little like stitchy lines along here. Let's just see what that looks like. And I'm running out of things to do. Let's do some circles in the circles on this one. And when you're doing your patterns and things, you know, you can go as far as you want. I'm going to go around the big dots as well. Oops, now that stopped there, so let's get that going again. But it's not, I'm just trying to see if it's, I don't think it, oh, it might have a little bit of something on the end there, but it's not affecting the colour of it. It's still fine. So that's that one. Let's maybe go for some sepia. Let's do some patterns within the acrylic squares there. Not all of them. Just being aware that I'm trying not to stick my arm in anything. Let's just go maybe some, have to do that around each one now because my determination is that these leaves are going to be the same on every single one. Now I'm debating now, am I, it's on the left hand side of the leaf, am I going to add a sentiment? I sort of feel like I want to today because I've got this lovely big space down the middle. Do you know what, I might just fancy doing some colour around these ones. So those ones got gold, these ones can have the brown. There we go. So let me lift that. I don't know if that's helping. So now you could do some sort of like sketchy lines around the boxes if you wanted to, just to frame them a bit more, but I think I'm going to leave them as they are. I think I want to put something, a sentiment of some sort down the middle. Let me see what I have got. No, those are Christmas ones. We don't want them. Now these are from Asha Marquette. She does have a channel on YouTube, which I will link in the description box, and she has a shop, so I will link where these ones can be found. I want it to be on black. I have a thing about white writing on black. Let me have a look. I've got lots here. Oh, perfection is overrated. Totally. Change how you see. Oh, change how you see and see how you change. It's quite a nice one, but I don't think it is for this. Oh, I want a big one. I want a big one. Right, here's... Oh, never a failure, always a lesson. I like that. That is very true, and that is very true for this kind of sort of abstract in particular, playing with your materials. Until you get your mediums out and play with them, you know, you're not going to learn any lessons, are you? And like I say, it's never a failure. Anything you do is always something you can learn from. So never a failure, always a lesson. I like that. I'm trying to get those out of the way, but that didn't really work. Let's get some glue and stick that along the middle. Nope. Nope, as always, you can guarantee that that will be blocked up. What is it with glue? That probably still won't be unblocked. Oh, yeah, just about. There's enough, I think. Enough coming out to just about work. So let's stick it right in the middle there. As a reminder to us all. Right, let's move all of this. So there we go. So here we are. It's a finished piece using our Stabilo woodies, acrylic paint, stencils, and the Copic Acreas, and I really like that. I don't know what I thought it was going to be like, but nothing I do ever turns out what I think it would be like. That was our colour palette. Yeah, I can see it. It's in there, isn't it? It's definitely in there. I have to say my tealy, that turquoise has gone a lot more green because it went over the orange and the yellow. So I think that's why that's looking a bit more sort of teal, or is it more turquoise than teal, or teal than turquoise? I never remember which way around. It's got more of a greeny tinge, hasn't it, than perhaps is in my palette, but that's because the colours were mixing, so it won't be exactly the same. But thank you very much for watching today, and if you did enjoy that, do please give me a thumbs up, and if you're not already subscribed, if you'd like to click that subscribe button and the bell if you want to be notified when I have new videos come out. So happy crafting, everybody, and until the next time, bye bye.